The Crystal Plaza Hotel sparkled like a glass castle in the heart of New York City. It was hosting the annual Global Investors Summit, where billion-dollar ideas were born, and billion-dollar deals were sealed. Every corridor buzzed with the sound of success, the click of polished shoes, the murmur of negotiations, the clink of champagne glasses. And in the middle of all that noise sat a man who could hear none of it. Mr. Samuel Leclerc, CEO of Leclerc Technologies, was one of Europe's top investors. But he was deaf. He sat quietly in the grand ballroom, his tablet resting on his lap, watching people's lips move like a silent movie. Everyone greeted him politely, then walked away awkwardly when they realized he couldn't hear their words. Some smiled apologetically, most simply avoided him. To them, he was a guest too complicated to deal with. Across the room, Maria Torres, a maid in her early 40s, was refilling glasses and collecting plates. She noticed the way Mr. Leclerc's polite smile faltered every time someone turned their back. She'd seen that kind of loneliness before, the kind that no wealth could hide. Maria had been working at the hotel for 7 years, cleaning rooms, polishing silver, and dreaming quietly for her daughter, Sophia. At just 17, Sophia was brilliant, sharp-eyed, curious, and fiercely compassionate. That evening, Maria had brought Sophia along to help her for a few hours after school. The girl needed community service hours for her college application, and the hotel manager had reluctantly agreed. As Maria cleared the table near the back, Sophia tugged at her sleeve. "Mom," she whispered, nodding toward the lonely man with the kind eyes. "That man's deaf." Maria nodded softly. "Yes, he's a big businessman from France. But everyone's too busy to talk to him." Sophia frowned. "Maybe they don't know how." Without another word, she walked toward him. Maria froze, nearly dropping her tray. "Sophia, don't bother the guests," she hissed. But Sophia was already there, standing in front of the billionaire who the world seemed to have muted. Mr. Leclerc looked up, startled. Sophia smiled and raised her hands. "Hello, my name is Sophia," she signed. His expression changed instantly, from polite confusion to pure, astonished joy. "You sign," he replied. "Yes," she signed back, her hands moving fluidly. "My school has a deaf student. I learned to talk with him." Across the room, the chatter continued. Nobody noticed the maid's daughter and the billionaire exchanging graceful gestures in the corner of the grand ballroom. For the first time that evening, Samuel laughed. It was silent, but it was real. His shoulders relaxed, his eyes brightened. He told her how frustrating it was to attend a summit where nobody could communicate with him properly. Then, he pointed at the stage. On the projector, a presentation flickered: Tech Nova, the future of AI-powered hearing implants. It was the big pitch of the night. The presenter, a sleek-talking CEO, was describing a revolutionary device for the hearing impaired. Sophia watched his lips move on the screen. Her brow furrowed. When the applause ended, Mr. Leclerc tapped his tablet. It translated his words into English text. "Their idea isn't new. They stole it. I've seen this tech before, from a small startup that went bankrupt last year." Sophia's eyes widened. "You know them?" He nodded. "Yes, I tried to help them once. But investors ignored me because I couldn't network." His fingers twitched with bitterness. "This world moves too fast for silence." Sophia hesitated, then signed. "Maybe you just need someone who listens differently." He studied her for a long moment, then smiled faintly. Minutes later, a group of executives approached Mr. Leclerc's table. They spoke loudly, slowly, as if volume could bridge understanding. "Mr. Leclerc, so glad you came. Did you like the presentation?" He gestured politely, typing on his tablet, but they barely waited for him to finish before turning to each other, whispering. Sophia stood by silently, watching. She couldn't stand it. When one of them laughed and said, "Such a shame, he's got money but no way to communicate," something in her snapped. She stepped forward. "He understands just fine," she said sharply. The men blinked, surprised. Mr. Leclerc smiled and began signing. Sophia translated, her voice steady. "He says your presentation is impressive, but he'd like to discuss intellectual property concerns regarding the prototype's original source." The executives froze. One stammered, How does he know that?" "Because he's the man who funded the original project," Sophia said, eyes narrowing. The room fell silent. Within minutes, the conversation transformed. Executives straightened their ties. Suddenly, they wanted to listen. Sophia translated every word, her hands moving with confidence and grace. Mr. Leclerc's calm authority commanded the room, and through her, his voice filled it for the first time. He questioned them about data rights, ethics, and patents. He exposed flaws in their plan, issues they thought nobody would catch. The more he spoke, the more everyone realized just how much brilliance had been ignored behind his silence. And when the last executive tried to brush him off, Sophia translated his final message clearly: if you're looking for funding, I'm not your investor. But I'll buy your company instead. The crowd gasped. Hours later, the ballroom buzzed with whispers of what had just happened: the deaf investor who'd outsmarted an entire tech board, the teenage girl who became his voice, and the billion-dollar acquisition that would change the future of hearing technology. Maria stood by the entrance, tears glistening in her eyes as she watched her daughter and the billionaire shake hands. The same people who had ignored him now lined up to meet him. And when reporters rushed forward, Sophia translated every question with poise beyond her years. Before leaving, Mr. Leclerc approached Maria. He signed something softly, and Sophia translated, her voice trembling with emotion. He says thank you, for raising a daughter who listens when others don't. Maria smiled, wiping her tears. It's her heart that speaks, not just her hands. The next morning, the headlines swept across every news outlet. Deaf billionaire closes $1 billion deal after Maid's daughter speaks his language. But for Sophia and Maria, it wasn't about the money or the fame. It was about that quiet moment when compassion broke through the noise, when one simple act of kindness made the whole world listen. And somewhere in a quiet hotel lobby, a young girl's hands had given a man back his voice.